If your power has ever gone out while playing modded Terraria, or if your game crashed, or if you hit Alt F4 in a fit of rage, there's a chance that the next time you logged into Tmodloader, you were met with a nasty surprise. Either your character and or your world is broken and completely unusable. Even worse, if you try to select one to play, the game might tell you that the load failed with no backup found. You might think that your world is gone forever and there's nothing you can do about it. However, this is usually wrong. More often than not, you can recover your world and or your character, and it doesn't even require any external tools or downloads or anything like that. Before I get into this tutorial, I would like to say that results aren't guaranteed. Tmodloader only stores one backup of your character and world per calendar date, so if you play a lot on a certain day and the backup gets corrupted, you may lose a fair bit of progress on the world. Additionally, if the world is very new, Tmodloader might not have made a backup for it yet, so if it gets corrupted, it's likely not recoverable. However, this should only really be an issue for new worlds with little progress, so if you're trying to recover a world with a lot of progress that you've built up over a long time, this method will likely work. Also, use this method at your own risk. I am not responsible for what happens to your computer. I'll start by showing you how to recover worlds, and then I'll show you how to recover characters afterwards. After that, I'll show you how to recover player map data. This guide should also work for pretty much any combination of content mods, as long as they don't do anything weird with their files. Mods like that are rare though, so this guide will work for most situations. It will also probably work for years to come, unless Tmod decides to change its file structure for whatever reason. And at the end, I'll show you a couple neat tricks you can do with this information besides just restoring worlds. To recover a corrupted world, you first need to find the folder that contains your worlds on Tmodloader. The easiest way to do this is to open Tmodloader and then click on the workshop button. Then, click on the modpacks button, and then click on this button at the bottom that says Open Modpack Folder. We do not care about modpacks, but this shortcut allows us to easily navigate to a folder that's close to the one we're looking for, and it works regardless of where Tmodloader is installed on your computer. Once you are in this folder, click on Tmodloader at the top to go up a couple folder levels. If you want, you can also navigate to this directory manually. This is the default directory for Windows, but if you have it installed somewhere else, then the location of the folder may vary. If you can't find it, just use the first method I showed you, since Tmodloader always knows where the world files are. Within the Terraria folder, click on the one just called Tmodloader. Within the Tmodloader folder, click on the folder named Worlds, and you're there. Now that you're in the Worlds folder, you should see several files that all have your modded world's names on them. Worlds placed on the cloud via this button in-game won't appear in this folder, but Tmod does still make backups of them regardless. The WLDs contain all the vanilla tile data for your world, and the TWLDs contain all the modded data. You need both of them in order to have a properly functioning modded world. In this folder, you'll also see some back files. These are also world backup files, but in my experience, they're not as reliable as what I'm about to show you, so ignore them for now. Click on the folder called Backups at the top. Go to the top and click the Date button to sort them in descending order by date, if they're not already in that order. This will bring the most recent backups to the top. Find the newest one that has the name of the world you want to recover on it, and try to open it. If you get an error message saying that the folder can't be opened, try the next most recent one, and so on. If you can't find a working backup, then you can try using the .back files instead, but I'll get to that in a moment. Inside the folder you should see a WLD file and a TWLD file with the world's name on it. Drag both of them to select them, right-click, and hit Copy. It is critical that you copy both of them, not just one, as a modded world has both vanilla and modded tile data. Then, navigate back to the Worlds folder by clicking Worlds at the top. Right-click on some empty space in the folder and then click Paste. You will get a prompt asking if you want to overwrite the files that are already in the folder. Just say yes. Do not copy the zip folder into the Worlds folder. You need to copy the files inside the zip folder. It's not catastrophic if you do this, but it's just not helpful since you need to copy out the WLD and TWLD into the Worlds folder at the end. It is an unnecessary extra step though. If you still have Tmodloader open, restart it, and the world should be fixed. If it didn't work, try the next backup in the backups folder that has the world's name on it, and so on. You can also try to use the BAK files. They tend to be less reliable, so I recommend trying the backups folder first. However, if there are no working backups, or if the BAK files are more recent than the latest working backup, they can be worth trying. To load the back files, locate the WLD and TWLD with your world's name on it in the Worlds folder. Delete both of them, but not the back files. Then, rename one of the WLD backs to remove the back extension. And then do the same with a file with TWLD. If none of this worked, then the world is truly gone, but it is pretty rare that everything manages to fail at once like that. If you do get unlucky though, then I just recommend starting a new world and butchering bosses with Dragonlance or Cheat Sheet and giving yourself stuff. Subworlds can corrupt too, but this is pretty rare. From my testing, if a subworld corrupts, the game might softlock when you try to enter it. Tmod does make backups of these subworlds, so they can be saved as well. To recover a subworld, go back to the backups folder. In there, you should see folders with mod names on them. Open the folder that the corrupted subworld comes from. Like with all other world backups, you'll see a WLD and a TWLD. Copy both of them and return to the worlds folder. For each world that you entered a subworld on, there will be a respective folder at the top with some nonsense name on it. The most recently modified one should be the one corresponding with your world. Open it and paste the WLD and TWLD that you copied earlier. It should ask if you want to overwrite the files you already have. Just say yes, and that should fix the subworld. For characters, the process is very similar. The Tmodloader folder can be found by doing the same thing as before. After reaching the Tmodloader folder, click on the folder named Players. In there you will see several files that all have your modded characters' names on them. Like with Worlds, the PLR file contains the vanilla data for a character, and the TPLR contains the modded data for that character. You need both of them in order to have a properly functioning modded character. At the top, you'll also see some folders with your characters' names on them. These folders are only for storing your character's map data, and are not relevant for recovering player data, so just ignore them. To restore the corrupted character, click on the Backups folder at the top. Then click on the Date option to sort them by most recent. Locate the most recent folder that has the character's name on it and open it. If it didn't work, try the next most recent backup, and so on. In this folder, you should see a PLR file and a TPLR file. Drag both of them to select them, right-click, and hit Copy. Just like with Worlds, it is critical that you copy both of them. Then, navigate back to the Players folder by clicking Players at the top. Right-click on some empty space in the folder, and then click Paste. You will get a prompt asking if you want to overwrite the files that are already in the folder. Just hit yes. If you still have Tmodloader open, restart it, and that should restore the character. If it didn't work, try the next most recent character backup, and so on. And just like with Worlds, you don't want to copy the zip folder into the Players folder. You want to copy the PLR and TPLR player files inside. And like with Worlds, you can also rename the back files to remove the back extension if you have no working backups, but I only recommend doing this as a last resort. Alongside Players and Worlds, it's also possible for your character's map data to be corrupted, which causes your world map to become unexplored. This is probably the rarest kind of corruption, and most people just ignore it or use a mod that reveals the whole map anyway. However, if you're like me and enjoy the exploration and progression of fog busting, losing all that progress can be pretty frustrating. Plus, Tmodloader does make backups of your map data, so I may as well show you how to restore that too. Just like with recovering Players and Worlds, start by navigating to the Tmodloader folder. Click on the Players folder. Along with the player data files and the Backups folder, you should see one folder for each of your characters at the top. If you click on one, you should see a list of map and tmap files. Just like with Worlds and characters, the map file contains all the vanilla map data, and the tmap contains the modded data. Each pair of files corresponds with the map data of one world for that character. If you've played with this character on several different worlds, there will be several different pairs of files, and if you've only ever played on one world, there will be just one pair. I'm not sure why they have these nonsense names instead of just having the name of the world on them, but you can still recover them without knowing which one is which. To recover them, go back to the Players folder, and open the folder named Backups. Just like with recovering character files, sort by date and locate the most recent backup of the character that has the corrupted map. Try to open it. If it doesn't let you open it, try the next most recent backup, and so on. Inside the zip folder, you should see another folder that has the character's name on it. If you want, you can open it and see that it contains the maps and tmaps, but this is not necessary. Right-click on the folder as a whole, and click Copy. Click Players at the top to return to the Players folder. Right-click in some empty space, and click Paste. You should get a prompt asking if you want to overwrite the existing files in the folder. Just say yes. If it didn't work, try the next most recent backup, and so on. Do not copy the map and tmap files into the player's folder directly, and also don't directly copy the zip folder into the player's folder either. Now that you've restored your character and/or your world, it's time to note a couple side effects. For one, you will almost certainly lose some progress. The amount you lose depends on how much you play on the world each day and how old the most recent working backup is. If you want, you can use the Dragon Lens mod or cheat sheet to butcher bosses that you've already killed or give yourself items that you already grinded for. Additionally, your character's map might be desynced with the current state of the world, but that can be fixed just by traveling to the impacted areas for the map to properly update. You can do more with this knowledge than just fix corrupted worlds, by the way. If you, say, accidentally used a city buster in your base and completely obliterated it, you can restore a backup of the world from before you threw it. You can even recover deleted worlds too. Notice how I still have backups from 2022 for worlds that don't exist in my worlds folder. Tmodloader never purges them, even after world deletion, so if you rage delete a world, it's probably still there for you. Additionally, this is also how you can share worlds between different machines or people. Simply send them both the WLD and TWLD file from the worlds folder on your computer and have them copy it into the worlds folder on their computer. It also works for players as well, just send the PLR and TPLR files. Vanilla has a pretty similar file structure. If you go up one more level from the Tmodloader folder, you'll find yourself in the Terraria folder. You can see that it has its own worlds folder and its own players folder. If you click on the worlds folder, you can see all of your vanilla worlds along with the respective BAK files. These WLD files are the same file type as the WLD files in the Tmodloader worlds folder, except with no TWLD as there is no modded tile data. In the players folder, it's pretty much the same thing. All your vanilla characters as PLR files. Vanilla does not have the same backup system that Tmodloader has, likely because vanilla is more stable, so world corruption is a lot rarer. Lastly, this allows you to transfer worlds between modded and vanilla. It's not super practical, and I don't really recommend it as most content mods expect you to start from the beginning with a new world, but it is still possible if you want to, say, transfer a build from vanilla to modded or something. Simply navigate to the Vanilla Terraria worlds folder, copy the WLD file, and paste it into Tmodloader's worlds folder. The next time you open Tmodloader, the world should be there. You can also do it the other way around by copying just a WLD file from the Tmodloader worlds folder and copying it into the vanilla worlds folder. It won't have any modded tile data, meaning that any modded biomes will just be gaping holes, but you can use this to cheat stuff into vanilla worlds by copying a vanilla world over to modded, cheating stuff into a chest, and then moving it back. I hope you found this video useful. It's scary when the game tells you that your world is unrecoverable, but it's usually wrong. It is possible that you might not be able to recover your world, but the more you've played on it, the more backups that Tmod will have made, and the less likely it is that the world is truly lost. I'm personally thankful that Tmod decided to implement this feature, as it has personally saved me many times, and I hope it can save you a lot of headaches too. Thanks for watching,